and welcome to Midnight History. This is the place where we slow down, turn down the lights, and walk into the quiet corners of the past. Tonight, we journey to Imperial Russia, into snow, shadow, and conspiracy. It is a story of faith and fear, of a man who would not die until he did. December 1916. St. Petersburg sleeps under a lid of ice. In the palaces along the Moika and Neva, the chandeliers are dimmed, but the whispers are not. Russia bleeds at the front. Bread lines coil through the snow. Ministers come and go like smoke. And in the private rooms of princes and dukes, a decision is hardened into fate. Tonight, Grigori Rasputin, the peasant mystic who rose from a Siberian village to the golden halls of the Romanov court, will be invited to a house where the lamps burn low and the wine is sweet. He will be given cakes, a smile, and a sentence. They will call it a remedy for the sickness of an empire. They will tell themselves it is surgery, not murder. But history has an excellent memory for knives. Grigori Yefimovich Rasputin did not belong in marble corridors, and yet he belonged there perfectly. Born around 1,869 inches Pokrovskoye, a speck on the endless Siberian plain, he wandered as a pilgrim and returned with a reputation, a starets, a holy man. To village eyes, he healed the sick, calmed the tormented, and prayed with a strange, disarming intensity. To the Romanovs, he was something rarer. The heir, Alexei, bled hemophilia, the imperial secret that ruled the empress's heart. When the boy worsened, Rasputin prayed, and the bleeding stopped. Was it luck? Was it medicine withheld? Was it suggestion? Whatever it was, Alexandra believed. And when a mother believes, a court must learn to protect. War made everything worse. In 1915, Nicholas II left for the front, leaving Alexandra to mind the palace and Rasputin to mind Alexandra. Ministers were appointed and dismissed in a dizzying carousel the public called the ministerial leapfrog. Newspapers grinned with inked cartoons. The streets snarled. In taverns, the joke grew sharp enough to cut. Russia was no longer ruled by the Tsar, but by a monk and a German woman. Power breeds enemies. But power wrapped in rumor, wine, and scandal breeds conspiracies. They met by lamplight and conscience. Prince Felix Yusupov, young, wealthy, theatrical, owned a palace whose cellars could swallow secrets. Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, royal blood, iron spine, hated Rasputin on principle. Vladimir Purishkevich, deputy demagogue, hated him for politics. A doctor, Stanislas Lazovert, hovered at the edge, the man with the vials. Their logic was simple. Remove the sorcerer, and the spell over the throne might break. Save Alexandra from herself, save Nicholas from Alexandra, save Russia from them both. They chose the stage, the Yusupov Palace on the Moika River. They chose the props, cakes, wine, and, if we are to trust the most repeated account, cyanide hidden in sweetness. They chose the music, a gramophone spinning soft tunes to soothe the guest who believed himself among friends. Revolution scratched at Russia's door. The conspirators convinced themselves they were locksmiths. The night fell like feathers. Snow sifted down, muting the city. Shortly before midnight, Rasputin arrived. He wore a coarse coat against the cold and the calm confidence of a man certain of his welcome. Yusupov met him with polished warmth and led him down, not up into the basement salon, where a table had been set with pastries and wine. There was a gramophone. There were icons on the wall, the kind a pious man might bless before eating. Rasputin crossed himself, smiled, and reached for a cake. If legend is to be believed, each sweet and every glass had been generously laced with cyanide, the dose a pharmacist might call terminal Rasputin 8. He drank, he talked, the clock bled minutes into hours, and nothing happened. Yusupov watched the mystic chew through poison and felt his own certainty dissolve. He excused himself, climbed the stairs, and found the others pacing the drawing room like wolves in too tight collars. Panic tastes metallic. Back in the cellar, music murmured. Yusupov returned with a small Browning pistol and a prayer learned too late. He asked Rasputin to admire a crucifix, stepped back, and pulled the trigger. The shot cracked stone. Rasputin fell with a groan and lay still, pooling dark on the floor. Upstairs relief, hysterical and bright. They had done it. Russia was saved at last. Yusupov descended once more, compelled by the morbid magnet of a deed half believed. He bent close. The eyes opened. What happened next became the marrow of a myth. Rasputin surged up, blood-slick, animal, furious. He clawed at Yusupov, shoved past, and lurched up the stairs, through a door into the frozen courtyard. The bell of the night rang again. Prushkevich's revolver barked once, twice. A body fell among snow prints and shadows. They beat him. They bound him. A carpet became a shroud. Somewhere along the Moika, ice broke with a sound like ribs. They slid the bundle into the black water and watched the river take it. Note, later reports and autopsy accounts differ. Some deny cyanide traces, others argue the fatal wounds were gunshots, not drowning. But the night keeps its versions. This is the most enduring. In the days that followed, the Neva held its tongue. Then, as winter rivers do, it relented. A body surfaced, arms bound, water blackened, face battered. The police, those not already complicit, raised eyebrows at the sloppiness of high-born killers. The city, meanwhile, devoured the tale. Was there water in the lungs? Some said yes, proof he died beneath the ice. Others said no, proof he died from bullets and blows. Cyanide? If it was there, it hid from the tests. Truth, as ever, arrived, wrapped in motive. At the palace, Alexandra wept like a city. She sent letters like curses. Nicholas, far from decisive, grew smaller in grief. The conspirators congratulated themselves until they realized what they had removed was not a disease, but a dam. The flood behind it had a name: revolution. Rasputin had written a letter months prior in a hand that wandered like his life. If I am killed by common men, you and your sons will rule for many years. But if I am killed by nobles, your dynasty will fall within 2 years. The ink was barely dry on the autopsy when fate began to honor the note. In February 1917, bread riots forked into revolution. In March, Nicholas abdicated an emperor, stepping off a cliff he never learned to see. A year later, in a cellar at Ekaterinburg, not unlike the one where Rasputin had eaten sweet cakes, the Romanovs met their end. Prophecies are a dangerous genre. People remember only when they seem fulfilled. But Russia remembered. And in its memory, Rasputin's curse stuck like frost. What did the murder change? For a night, it made brave men of cowards. For a week, it made heroes of conspirators. For a year, it made martyrs of a family that could not save itself from history. Rasputin was neither devil nor saint. He was a symptom in human clothing of a court closed to criticism, of a nation drowning in war, of a dynasty that mistook survival for rule. Killing him did not cure the illness. It only convinced the doctors that they had done something useful. Tonight, as we close the door on the cellar and let the gramophone wind down, we remember. Empires end not with thunder, but with a sequence of quiet errors. Each one reasonable, each one fatal. The knives were real, the winter was real, and so were the tears. Thank you for keeping me company tonight. The story of Rasputin reminds us that history is not only battles and crowns, but also whispers in the dark and choices made behind closed doors. As you close your eyes, may the night be gentle, your dreams peaceful, and your rest deep. Good night, and until we meet again beneath another moon.